Hey, what's up guys? Hardleg Joe here with the Water Deck profile for the Tzolkin Toolbox Turbo deck. I'm just going to go through all the cards in here and then I'll explain their role in the deck. So we have 3 Cyber Dragon, 1 Artifact Moltark, 3 Super Quantum Red Layer, 3 Artifact Chakram, 3 Primitive Butterfly, 3 Quick Draw Synchron, 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 3 Effect Veiler. For spells, we have 3 Terraforming, 3 Forbidden Lance, 3 Artifact Ignition, 3 Starlight Junction, and for traps, 3 Scrap Iron Scarecrow, and 3 Abyss Stingray. In the extra deck, we have 1 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, 2 Ultimaya Tzolkin, 2 Beelze, the Diabolic Dragons, 1 Void Ogre Dragon, 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, 1 Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer, 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, 1 Michael the Arch Lightsworn, 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon, 1 Goyo Guardian, 1 Tyrus Keeper of Genesis, and 1 number 61 Volcasaurus. So the point of this deck is to get out Ultimaya Tzolkin. This card is always treated as level 12. Must be special summoned by sending 2 level 5 or higher monsters you control that have the same level, 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner. Once per turn, when a spell trap card is set on your side of the field, you can special summon 1 Power Tool Dragon or 1 level 7 or 8 Dragon-type Synchro monster from your extra deck. And while you control a Synchro monster, this card cannot be targeted by attacks and effects. So you make this, and then every time you set a card, well, once per turn when you set a card, you get to summon out one of these guys. And we've just got a toolbox of dragon cards for various use. Beelze obviously can't be destroyed by attacks or effects. Void Ogre Dragon, if you have no cards in your hand, can negate a spell trap once per turn. Crystal Wing Synchro negates all monster effects. And if it attacks a monster level 5 or higher, it gains attack equal to that monster's attack. Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend can destroy all special summoned monsters on the field. This guy can blow up your opponent's pendulum monsters and then shuffle a card into their deck. So this is like anti-pendulum card. Stardust Spark Dragon, once per turn, can target 1 monster and it can't be destroyed that turn. Michael is for you can banish 1 card per turn by paying 1,000 life points. Clearwing makes it so that your monsters can't be, your level 5 or higher monsters can't be targeted. Or if they would be targeted, you negate and destroy it. So you're just making nothing but these guys. If you can get out like Beelze, Crystal Wing, and Clearwing, and Void Ogre Dragon, like those 4 is like almost a complete lock. There's nothing your opponent can do, really. Goyo's only in here, in case you make a level 6, which you can with this deck. But he's not really important. He's just sort of there in case you get a level 6 Synchro. Most of the time, you want to make this guy. So you need level 5, 2 level 5s, 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner. Our tuner is always Quick Draw Synchron, because he's level 5. How you get him out, obviously if you just have him in your hand, you can discard any monster to special summon him, and we play more monsters than spell traps. Alternatively, we use Starlight Junction. This is, you contribute 1 tuner monster to special summon a Synchron monster from your deck with a different level. So we play 6 other tuners, 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 3 Effect Veiler. If you have this Starlight Junction, you contribute them to get Quick Draw from your deck. The rest of our monsters are all level 5s. Cyber Dragon, if your opponent controls a monster and you don't control any, you can special summon it. If you control no monsters, you can special summon Super Quantum Red Layer. If you control no monsters, you can special summon Primitive Butterfly. So the tactic is just special summon one of these out, and then use Quick Draw, either by like actually discarding for his effect, or with Starlight Junction. And then you can make Ultimaya Tzolkin and anything you set. So we're playing a little bit of artifacts. Moltark, just because he's the best artifact, and 3 Chakram. Chakram has this interesting effect that if one of your set cards would be destroyed, you can add it back to your hand and special summon this guy out on the field, which is useful a little bit in this deck for reasons I'll explain in a moment. But they're basically just here because they're targets for both. Like, you can discard him for Quick Draw Synchron because he's a level 5, but because you can also set them, you can also use them to activate Tzolkin's effect. As for our spells, we got 3 Terraforming, just because you need Starlight Junction. We've got 3 Forbidden Lance, because every once in a while they'll try to negate Tzolkin's effect before you get a Synchro monster out, and this will stop it. It'll also, you know, if you make Beelze and then they have the Monarch Storm 4th, I think that works with. Either way, if they have some spell trap that can get rid of this guy, or like you make Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and they have Raigeki, then you use your Forbidden Lance to save them. The rest of these, we're playing Abyss Stingray because he's a level 5 that you can special summon. So again, same thing. He takes another turn. He's a little slower than these other guys. But he also can't be destroyed by battle once he's summoned. So he's a little bit of a stall card. You can stall for a little bit until you get the things you need. And then our other two, we've got Scrap Iron Scarecrow and Artifact Ignition. So Scrap Iron Scarecrow is when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you negate the attack and then set this face down again. So because you're setting a card on your side of the field, that activates Tzolkin's effect. So you can activate that during your opponent's turn, which is really good. If you want to be kind of risky, if you don't have anything else to set, you can have this down, make Tzolkin, and then when they attack, you'll summon a dragon out, and they won't be able to attack this again. Likewise, Artifact Ignition, not only is this spell trap destruction, this basically destroy a spell trap on the field, and then set an artifact from your deck into the spell trap zone. So you can, like, as soon as you go into the standby phase, blow up your opponent's spell, maybe one of their pendulums, and then you'll set an artifact, and there you go, you just set another spell trap from your deck, so you summon out another big old dragon. In addition, Starlight Junction, in addition to letting you summon out Quick Draw, has an additional effect that if you special summon a Synchro monster from your extra deck during your opponent's turn, you can target one card on the field and shuffle it into the deck. So you can get some potentially really, really strong combos with this, where, like, during the start of their turn, you're blowing up a spell trap, summoning a monster, getting a artifact on the field, and shuffling something into the deck. And just, like, absolutely devastating. Of course, this is still very, very much a brick-heavy deck. If you get your artifacts in your hands, there's very little you can do. If you get a bunch of stall and they just have MSTs, there's nothing you can do. But when it works, boy, does it work. And that was, I was going to say, the Artifact Chakram. Because you can save your set cards from being destroyed, it's really good with this Scrap Iron Scarecrow, because once they realize you have it, they're not going to attack you anymore, because they don't want to proc that effect. So if they try to destroy it or Twin Twister it, you can save it and get an extra 2,000 defense wall on your field. For the side deck, a lot of people don't really like this one. If your opponent's, especially if your opponent's not playing some spell trap destruction, it might be better to get Scythe in there, because when he's summoned, your opponent can't summon from the extra deck, so it's a little bit added effect. You can also summon your artifacts by targeting them face down with your own Artifact Ignition, so there's a chance you could stall a little bit harder with that than with this. I just like Chakram because he's kind of underrated. Another option, Garbage Lord. I've heard from some people you can't use this for synchro monsters. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, but someone told me that. But either way, it's pay 2,000, summon a card, or summon this card, and he's level 5. So he's slightly better than the rest of these, because you don't, like, even if you already have Quick Draw Synchron, you can special summon this guy onto the field. But it cost you 2,000 life points, and I didn't want to pay the cost for it. We've got a couple other options. Moonlight Rose Dragon you can summon with this, but I'd rather have 2 Beelze 90% of the time. Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree, he's actually level 10. So if you get out your Quick Draw and another 5, and you want to go into a level 10 instead of making Tzolkin, he's your option for that. But most of the time, you want to go into Tzolkin. Unless you just don't have any cards to set and you're top decking or something like that. Red Wyvern, he's another level 6, like with Goyo. You can make this occasionally if you just have, like, Cyber Dragon or Super Quantal with a Effect Veiler. You can go into your 6s. It doesn't happen very often, but it's good to have the option, because most of the other dragons that are available, like Power Tool Dragon, not really worth it. We also run 2 rank 5 Ixies, because again, you can get out rank 5s pretty easily. Either one of these and your Quick Draw, or just one of these and, like, Abyss Stingray. Sometimes you can have Tzolkin out and still get these 2 out, and have some more options there. Tuning. Every once in a while you'll run into something where you really don't want to use Starlight Junction, and this is a good option. Instead of that, just search out your Quick Draw Synchron. Of course, you still have to discard for his effect, so it's not as optimal, but if they're playing a lot of, like, anti-spell trap, if they're playing, like, 3 MST, 3 Twin Twister, and they're getting this every time, then tuning's definitely a better way to go. Scrap Iron Statue, I really wanted to work, because this works exactly like Scrap Iron Scarecrow, except it destroys face-up spell trap cards, which is really good for getting rid of, like, Domain of the Monarchs and Pendulums and a bunch of other stuff, but there's just not enough decks that consistently use face-up spell traps for this to be useful all the time. So it got relegated to the side deck, but definitely, like, if you were playing this, and definitely put this in the side deck. It's good against pendulums. Maybe take out some of your Abyss Stungrays or some of your Forbidden Lances, put that in. There's also Dust Tornado if they're playing a lot of traps. This is another, like, target one spell trap your opponent controls, destroy that target, then you can set a spell trap from your hand. Unlike with Scrap Iron or Artifact Ignition, this relies on having a card in your hand, so it's not as good, but it's still something that'll let you set during your opponent's turn, which means you can use Tzolkin again, and you can use Starlight Junction. So there you go. This is my take on Ultimaya Tzolkin. Again, not the best deck, but definitely made better by Crystal Wing Synchro. Just the fact that you can just set a card and get him out without having to synchro 3 times in a turn. Just very good. Next week, I have no idea. Gonna be a surprise. Until then, good luck. Have fun.